Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the NXT review for the 22nd of March 2022. Overall, NXT is a abysmal show. I'm not sure why it's on national television, other than the fact that it has a contract. I cannot imagine whenever the contract were to be up when it is that they would renew the contract. I don't see a point to doing that. I don't see value in it, and honestly, it's just actually kind of sad, really. Anyway, um, some of the stuff is decent enough, but much of it is just abysmally bad. Anyhow, we continue our kind of foray into things here and trying to bring things forward a little bit. So, live results, or not live, but results in general. Braun Breaker and Robert Roode are your main event for the day. Amazing how close together they look. Ladder match qualifier kicking off the show. Solo Sikoa defeating Roderick Strong, North American Championship qualifier match. Sikoa pins Strong to qualify for the ladder match North American Championship at Stand and Deliver. Hayes and Williams arrive at the announce booth midway through the match to provide commentary. Strong cuts off Sikoa with the guillotine. Anyway, Strong delivers a backbreaker for a near fall midway through the match. At least the backbreaker seems a little more special than average. Strong knife edge chops, and then Sikoa then starts to fight back, trade strikes. All hope is lost. Sikoa is trapped on the mat. Olympic slam by Strong for another near fall. Sikoa then kicks out, and then Santos Escobar enters the soundstage area. He comes up the aisle toward ringside. Sikoa and the Samoan drop earns a near fall. Sikoa attempts climb to the turnbuckle, but then gets crushed by Strong, teasing a superplex, and Strong takes the Nesty plunge off the top rope. Sikoa then follows up with a Superfly Splash. Sikoa scores a win and advances into the Stand and Deliver match. Indy Hartwell and Persia Pirotta are fighting backstage, playing into the next match. Hartwell invites Pirotta and Duke Hudson to watch from ringside. Tony D'Angelo defeats Dexter Lumis with Indy Hartwell. D'Angelo pins Lumis after outside interference, unrelated to the outside interference. Tommaso Ciampa jumps D'Angelo while cutting a post-match promo. D'Angelo gets cocky early. Lumis begins to pummel him. Fight spills to the outside. D'Angelo puts his hat on, mocks Tommaso Ciampa. And show cuts to a commercial break. D'Angelo faces Ciampa next week at Stand and Deliver. Lumis come back after the show returns from the break. Lumis cleans house. Hartwell gives approval while watching from ringside. Pirotta and Hudson lurk in the background. During all this, double down in the ring, D'Angelo is able to crawl towards the crowbar. Hartwell then gets the Pureness up in the corner and then grabs the crowbar. D'Angelo uses it in the process. Pirotta goes on to take the crowbar away. D'Angelo does manage to lay out his opponent with the crowbar shot to the head, covering him for the pinfall is D'Angelo, who gets the victory. D'Angelo cuts a promo post-match directed at Tommaso Ciampa. D'Angelo vows to end Ciampa's NXT career. Ciampa surprises D'Angelo with the attack. Robert Roode's backstage with a live interview with Mackenzie Mitchell. NXT champion Dolph Ziggler is with Roode. Ziggler hypes Roode ahead of the featured match later this evening. Elektra Lopez with Legado del Fantasma defeats Fallon Henry. Short match. Henley's character is leaning into basically country girl meets hard worker. Henley fires up looking for an upset. Doesn't happen. and Lopez executes a sit-out side slam, and Lopez gets the win. Draco Anthony gets a video message from Joe Gacy trying to recruit him. Anthony slams the phone against the locker. Zion Quinn overhears the message and tells Anthony he has his back. Backstage interview, Dakota Kai and Wendy Chu. Mackenzie Mitchell asks about their thoughts on the Dusty Classic Finals. Later, they vow to win the tournament, which I can't imagine anyone caring about. Ron Baker does defeat Robert Roode with Dolph Ziggler, the NXT champion. Breaker pins Roode clean in probably the best match on the show. Bout continues to prove that Breaker can go with veterans and have really good matches. Breaker pulls straps down, fires up. Ziggler interferes, putting Roode out of harm's way. Breaker charges in the corner. Breaker then runs himself into the ring post. Unlike the opening match, the referee sees this and gets rid of Ziggler. Breaker is battling back. Show returns from the break, but Roode dashes the Hope with a blockbuster. Taunting by Roode. Roode attempts to climb top turnbuckle and gets cut off by Breaker. Super Frankensteiner. They go on to trade back and forth near falls. Roode signals for his finisher, but Breaker blocks it. Breaker then fires up and delivers a spear for near fall. Breaker lifts Roode into Gorilla Press, but Roode counters with the glorious DDT. Roode drapes his arm over Breaker, but Breaker lifts his shoulder off the mat and for a 2.5 count. Both guys trade shots back and forth. Roode then leaps off the middle rope for some reason. Breaker catches him. Breaker hits press slam on Roode. 1, 2, 3. Breaker is celebrating. After the match, he walks up the ramp. Ziggler nails him with a sneak attack. And then we go backstage skit with Dexter Lumis drawing a picture to reveal that Duke Hudson has a match with Gunther. Bodie Hayward cuts promo. Clash Chase University. Grayson Waller defeats A-Kid in a North American Championship qualifying match. Waller pins A-Kid. Waller qualifies for the ladder match stand and deliver. A-Kid works a great amount of just high intensity stuff here. Waller counters a springboard into a leg sweep off the middle ropes that look pretty scary. A-Kid lands in an ugly manner, to say the very least. Hayes goes after Williams. They're both at ringside. They announce another qualifying match for the ladder match next week. Losers from the previous qualifying matches. We bring back the losers and we let them try and win again. Stupid. Just stupid. Anyway, Creed Brothers with Malcolm Bivens and Ivy now defeats Grizzled Young Veterans. Brutus pins at Drake to win the match. Grizzled Young Veterans work over Julius Creed, makes his own comeback, flying a stretch muffler. High flying on Drake, knocking Brutus off the apron. This delays the inevitable. Grizzled Young Veterans attempts Doomsday Device, and Julius escapes clutches, and then Drake sets up his knee, rolling through. Julius then capitalizes on a shot block to the knee. Vandals are vandalizing the Diamond Mines gym. They spray paint Don't Cry on the walls. This is a warning to the Creed brothers, apparently. Gunther with Imperium defeats Duke Hudson with Persia Pirotta. Gunther puts Hudson in a hard chop. Anyway, series, and then Gunther is a monster. Hudson can't get anything off, and then hits a massive chop. Crowd is solidly behind the chops. Hudson's chest is obviously hamburger meat. Gunther applies choke. Yeah, Hudson fights back. Hudson then fires up. Gunther then hits with a German suplex for a 2 count. The monster awakens. Gunther clobbers Hudson, and Gunther nails a powerbomb and gets the pinfall victory. This show runs way too long at this point. LA Knight confronts Gunther. Gunther cuts a promo after the match, declaring himself the most dominant competitor in NXT. Uh, he says he's been overlooked by NXT. Knight begins doing his mic work. Gunther then tells him to shut up. Gunther claims Knight represents everything that's wrong with the sport today. A lot of talking, very little skill. Knight responds with a threat against Gunther. Knight warns Gunther to never interrupt him again. Knight was the one that interrupted Gunther to begin the segment. Knight cusses Gunther, and then ultimately that doesn't go very well. Knight then watches Use of Words sets up a match between Knight decides to go a different route. And then Imperium jumps Knight till MSK makes the save, evening the odds. In the announcement after the commercial break, Gunther against LA Knight singles match is made official for Stand and Deliver. Also announced trios match next Tuesday on NXT. Gunther and Imperium against Knight and MSK. Video package telling the story of Cameron Grimes and passing of his father. Grimes makes a promise to his father. Grimes looks to work towards fulfilling that promise. And then the final match of the show, thankfully, Io Shirai and Kaylee Ray defeats Wendy Cho and Dakota Kai to win the Women's Dusty Classic. Didn't know that they needed to have this. Anyway, Shirai pins Cho to win the Classic. Toxic Attraction watches from ringside. Good sequences early. Cho's character is more serious than it has been previously. Shirai goes for the Tiger Fey kick on Kai, but Cho blocks it with a pillow. Shirai easily recovers, sending Kai out of the ring. Shirai leaps through the ropes and flying crossbody outside on Kai, while Kaylee Ray jumps into a dive on Cho through the ropes. Cho and Kai are in peril as the show goes to a close. Cho then hits an avalanche overhead suplex. Kylie Ray takes on things there. Hard bump backs into the ring. Manages to kick out at 2. Kylie Ray then hits double foot stomp on Wendy Cho. Follows the modified Vader splash and flies out of nowhere, delivering a missile drop kick and breaks the pinning attempt. After all four are down in the ring, selling moments later, Kylie Ray and hits a gory bomb on Cho. Shirai follows up with a moonsault press. Shirai covers Cho, deciding pinfall. Confetti falls from things. Rose cuts a promo on Shirai and Kaylee Ray, telling them that they will be beat by JC Jane and Gigi Dolan. Kylie Ray and Shirai both say they have their sights set on Rose's title. Kylie Ray announces the women's title match Stand and Deliver is now a fatal four-way. Why does she know this? How does she know this? What's the point of her knowing this? And so much more. Kylie Ray and Shirai earned the tag title match by winning the Dusty Cup, but instead they chose to act for themselves. The announcers on commentary simultaneously wonder all this. Cora Jade rushes into the ring as the show closes. Wild brawl involving everyone in the ring. Toxic Attraction flees and runs away. Babyfaces stand tall and the show closes. We'll be back with more right after this.